Well, this is very ironic, but I was just about to finish editing this very video that you're watching right now when my situation got even worse. When I got hit in the chest with another poison-tipped arrow, and I wish I was joking. So if any of you guys watching have been following me on Instagram, then you'd know I've had what some would call a series of bad luck lately. I mean, there's been a death in my family, my basement flooded, which is why I'm filming in this room. I bought my first car in like 5 or 6 years, and then my mother thought she was going to, do me a favor and clean all the snow off it with one of those like plastic bristled snow brushes that only cost a couple bucks at a dollar store, and she, as she said, scrubbed it clean like a dinner plate, and it was black paint, the hardest paint to keep clean, and she scratched the entire thing up. Then there was the YouTube stuff, which is way more serious, where for a while it seemed like my channel was at risk, and I'm still feeling like I'm in some kind of limbo. I don't know if the risk is over. What I do know is that I got a ton of age restrictions, I got a strike that I had to contest, and I had to private, like, what was it, 30 videos in the end? But of course, those are just the little things you guys know about. You really have no idea the, amount of shit that's been going on in my private life. Why I wanted to make this video is because I'm always shocked when I make an Instagram post about something shitty that's happened, how most people they always seem so shocked or surprised that I'm able to see pretty much anything bad in a positive light. Now, one would look at how I'm acting in this video and say that that must all be just, a facade, it's just a show, because clearly I am negatively affected. And the truth is, of course I get negatively affected. I'm not Superman. I don't just smile when all this shit happens, just like people are shocked when I eat hot sauce. That doesn't mean that I'm not feeling the heat of the hot sauce. Like, I just recently ate, 6 million Scoville units, which is insane. It definitely felt hot. It's just a matter of not reacting to the feeling of hot. And in terms of always seeing your glass as, half full and not half empty, especially when stuff happens that tries to pull us down and destroy our spirits, well, it's really not something that I'm the best at doing. It's easy to make a post on Instagram and make it seem like I'm all like, yay, oh, this is so great, oh, I can see it in this positive way. But that doesn't necessarily mean that it's easy for me. I mean, I struggle just like anybody else. But what also shocks me is just how it seems most people are unable to do what I can do. Like even though I may struggle, in the end, I always do follow through, and I am always able to see everything from multiple perspectives. And I don't know if this is just something that, like, an innate skill that I was born with, or if I've cultivated this over time, probably from the help of psychedelic exploration, or just through getting over all the nasty shit I've been through in my life. But yeah, I guess it's a skill that I really do take for granted, that I should stop taking for granted. And what I wanted to do in this video is share with you guys some of my secrets as to how I'm able to always see my cup as half full. And the first thing really is just understanding that nobody ever does anything worthwhile when they're comfortable, at least rarely. Most people will not make a change in their life until they feel more uncomfortable just doing the same old thing than trying something totally new. What I mean is most people have to be pushed right to the edge where they're just about to fall off before they finally realize that they need to take a new path, even if it does look harder to travel on. So what I can do is I can see shitty things that happen to me as, well, a way to put me into a state of discomfort. And I know for myself, whenever I'm really uncomfortable, that is when I'm going to make the most positive changes, hopefully. The longer I'm comfortable and the more I just feel like everything's okay and things are always good, then the less likely I am to really grow. I mean, what I've found with my own life is there's no staying the same. You're either progressing or you're regressing. And a lot of us get stuck in this constant fluctuation of growing and then, well, shrinking and then growing and then, getting pushed back down. But the thing is, as Steve Jobs most famously said, you can only connect the dots looking back. When you're just looking at this little section of like how you feel and what your progress has been like, and you're just feeling the down and then the up, if you were to take a step back and like zoom out a little bit and see the actual full graph, you would see that, yeah, it's going up and down, but you're still actually progressing, you're learning new things, you are growing as an individual. And I think it's really important to remember that no matter what it is that you're going through, no matter how shitty it feels, no matter how hopeless the situation, for all you know, that was exactly what you needed at that time in your life. And come 2 or 3 years from now, you'll be looking back at this exact moment and going, oh my God, wow, at the time that was terrible. The worst thing that could have ever happened to me. But if that didn't happen, then this wouldn't happen, then this wouldn't happen. It becomes like this web of like interconnectedness, and all of a sudden you go, whoa. Like I've said before, if I never went through my shitty relationships, I would never have my son, who I love. Or if I was never an idiot as a kid, I wouldn't have a daughter who I love. I mean, like, it's really easy to live in regret and to really feel sorry for yourself, fall into that woe is me, oh my god, life's so hard, blah, blah, victim mentality. And if you really play into that too often, when you do take that zoom out and look at your progress of ups and downs, instead of really growing as a person, you're going to see, a nice steady decline. And unfortunately, I'm not going to sugarcoat this video, that is a lot of people's lives. But anyway, in that regard, I really don't see my bad luck as bad luck. What I think is bad luck is someone who's always comfortable, because they're so much less likely to make any kind of positive change or to take risks with their life and to grow. Someone who's always, having bad luck or always is put into uncomfortable situations that they have to problem solve to get out of, that person is the real lucky one. Because as a result of all the shit that they've got to dig through, well, they're building up some big freaking, biceps and deltoids here, man. Like, they're getting strong. They're learning valuable lessons and techniques that can greatly help them in their life. And this life can be pretty challenging. We need to give ourselves as many advantages as we can. That's why it's very important that you spend your time wisely learning, reading, growing, so you can cultivate the type of personality that can not only persevere through a lot of this shit, but who can find the comedy in all of this and step into a mindset of seeing everything that happens, both the good and the bad, as an opportunity. I mean, there's no such thing really as a failure. A lot of people don't succeed with what they want to do in life because they're terrified to fail. Like, say I just got 1 million subscribers on Psych Substance, which is crazy, but how did I do that? It's because I failed a shit ton before ever getting there. You've got to get used to failing. You've got to almost start enjoying the failures, because they're all valuable lessons that you can use to springboard yourself into the success that you think you deserve. A lot of the time when you think you deserve to be successful, like when I was a kid, I wanted to be successful when I was like 21, and I just wasn't there yet. I didn't have the right lessons. I wasn't grown up enough. I wasn't mature enough. There was a lot more for me to learn. But at the time, you just want it now, and you just can't see what maybe you haven't experienced yet and what you need to experience before it'll even be possible to get to where you might want to go. Basically, you just haven't failed enough yet. Something else that I've noticed I'm good at that a lot of people struggle with is always remaining grateful for what I do have. A lot of us don't realize how ridiculous we're being when we get upset about things that in reality are stupid. It's almost as if as people rise up, say, like a ladder of success, all of a sudden what they used to appreciate when they were like, lower down on this ladder is not acceptable anymore. I mean, that's just like, whoa, they can't even imagine how shitty that would be. But at the time when they were at this lower level, it was amazing. For an easy example is, say that you have a channel on YouTube that has, 1 million subscribers. Now say something shitty happens and you drop down to 500,000 subscribers. You'd probably be so upset, like, oh my god, I lost half my subscribers, this is terrible. But what you'd fail to realize is that you'd still have 500,000 subscribers. You'd still have a pretty massive YouTube channel. And there was a time when you were at maybe 250,000 subscribers where you were like, oh my god, I can't even imagine hitting 500,000 subscribers. It's like the more you succeed, the less grateful you are in regards to how much you actually have. You always need more and more and more. So what I always try to do is remind myself that I don't really have anything. I mean, I don't even feel like I have full control over me. I don't even know if I have free will a lot of the time. And I know that this body ends and everybody I love is going to disappear. And I know that anything material or anything that I've tricked myself into thinking is of any real importance, well, it can be stripped away from me at any time, and it probably will be. It just seems that as we start getting more and more things, as we acquire more stuff, more money, more success, however you want to measure that success, we stop being grateful for the things that really are important. For example, I've got 2 hands, I've got 2 feet, I have a full working body, which is amazing. There's a lot of people who don't have all their limbs, and that's all they would want in the world. Like, their number one dream would just to have, say, both their arms, and I have that. A lot of you guys watching are going to say, well, that's so stupid, so many people have hands. But man, just think about how rare it was just for you to exist, just to be that one sperm that made it out of, what is it, like millions, billions of those little squiggly worms? Just your existence alone is an absolute miracle. Or even just the fact of being alive on this planet. I mean, When you really break it down, we are on a rock that's hurling through space, spinning around this giant ball of fire, and that thought alone is insanely trippy. So why am I going to waste my time getting super upset, super affected about shit that maybe I can't change, or that's not even worth my energy to change, when there's just so much more that I have to be grateful for? My car gets scratched, okay. Family member died. I mean, that's way worse than a scratched car, but everybody dies. The Western world loves to just sweep this under the rug, and they probably would make me seem heartless just for saying that, but like, yeah, obviously people that you love are going to die, and you're going to grieve those people, and it's going to be hard as fucking hell, but you're going to die too. And death is a beautiful thing, because if it wasn't for the fact that people died, no one would live. You need that duality, right? No up without down, you know the whole deal, right? No darkness without light, because if everything was just light, you would have no shadows, you know, to define where all this stuff is. And if everything was all dark, you wouldn't be able to see anything anyway, so, you know, they complement each other. You need both. And it sucks. I mean, again, ruthless, kind of cruel seeming world, like, what gives, man? Everyone you love is going to die one day, including yourself. And we all just have to carry on knowing this fact. It can be pretty dark. At the end of the day, there's always a way to see everything and anything that can happen from a positive perspective. Sometimes when, you know, like really dark shit happens, it can be near impossible to find that one positive thing to take out of it, and sometimes, albeit it is impossible, there's nothing at the time you can see, and you have to move forward, you know, into the future, which you can't see into, unfortunately, unless maybe you have a crazy cool DMT trip. You need to grow and continue evolving past that to be able to see what the lesson is. Well, this is very ironic, but I was just about to finish editing this very video that you're watching right now when my situation got even worse. Now, I really do hate being this secretive, but this new piece of bad luck that has happened to me is way too fresh to even really speak about at the moment. Regardless, though, it's probably the type of thing that I'm gonna have no choice but to talk about at some point, so I guess I will be speaking about it in the future. But regardless of what it is, it does bring up a very good point that I forgot to initially include. In this life, things can always get worse, and then when they do get worse, it's still then possible for them to get even worse than worse, and so on and so on. But no matter how much it feels like this life is trying to push you down and suffocate you with a pillow, you need to remember a few things. A, you need to remember everything I've already talked about. And B, you need to remember to let it all go. Just let it all go. All of it. Everything. Every last little thing and every last little nook and cranny. Just take it, scrape it out, and let it go. But how do you really let go? It always sounds so easy, but how do you let go of, say, loved ones? How do you let go of your children, of your sense of self, of your attachment to this body and this planet and this mind? And the truth is, you probably can't. You probably can't just let go of all these things. It's not that easy. I can't just let go of people that I love, but at the same time, I'm very well aware that there's going to be a point in my life where I'll have no choice, either because of my end or because of their end. What I also know is that this sense we all have of time and that we're progressing and moving through something, well, it means nothing. It's useless, because all that I or anyone can ever really experience is just now. It's this present moment. There is no time. There's no past. There's no future. I mean, when tomorrow comes and that's the future of today, is it going to be tomorrow or is it going to still be right now? The reality is you are not going to escape the present moment, not while you're still alive. We're all born in this present moment and we all die in the same present moment. I know that kind of doesn't make sense because you were born like a while ago and you have records of this, you've seen yourself grow. It's really difficult to explain this with these words, but even though you were born a while ago, it still happened in the present, it still happened in the now. Now what happens to most people is they really just just cannot accept their own mortality to the point where they push it out of their minds to the degree where they actually forget that they're going to die someday. They act as though they're going to live forever, and they stop valuing, well, their experiences here, and they also stop valuing really themselves. In the wake of this, what happens to a lot of people is they live their entire life on autopilot, and as such, they never actually live at all. A good example would be that movie Click, where he kept fast-forwarding through all the shitty parts to the point where he just ended up fast-forwarding through his entire life. What I find funny is the meaning of that video basically goes to show that all of life really can be shitty. It's all a matter of how you look at it. After he realized that he had skipped his whole life, he then went back and valued all those shitty moments. Everything he hated, it was like the most amazing hallelujah moment, because he finally realized how blind he was. He realized what was truly important. And more specifically, he realized what wasn't actually important at all, that he somehow naively believed was. And this is precisely why letting go is probably the most liberating experience you can have. All these things that you're holding on to are weighing you down. It's like holding a ton of suitcases, and then you've got all these bags strapped on your back, on your shoulders, on your elbows, on your legs, hanging off your hips, and you're just to the point where you can barely move anymore. And I'm not just talking about holding on to physical, tangible stuff like, I don't know, other people or possessions. I mean, you could be holding on to a certain mindset. You can be holding on to your insecurities, your fears, your virtues, things like maintaining a degree of status, social status in our world. All of that stuff is weighing you down. And if you get the chance to have the very, very rare experience of letting go of all of it, before you're forced to, before you die, then you can experience this life in a way that very few people ever actually do. It's kind of like taking off all the filters or putting on a lens that is able to cut sharply through the bullshit, just push it all aside, all that thick sludge, and finally just see. You get to experience the highs to their absolute highest and also the lows to their lowest. But you no longer see the lows with the same negative perspective as you used to. You start to value those experiences. It allows you to just be more raw and just more human than most humans could even imagine. What I'm trying to say is you get to be free. Which brings me back to the whole point of this video and allows me to tie in everything nice and neat together in a way that relates back to itself. If it wasn't for experiencing extreme discomfort, if it wasn't for being pushed right to the edge or right to the brink of cracking, most people who do live their life this way, who actually are free, who can let go, they would have never had the opportunity. I mean, they would have never had to. You could almost make it seem as though they were forced to let go. Like either you let it all go or you just break. And sometimes that is the reality of the situation. That's what it takes. You have an ultimatum. You have a choice. You either take the blue pill or the red pill, and then from that point on, live with your decision. And that is why feeling discomfort is the best feeling in the world, because the more uncomfortable you get, the more you are forced to stop running and just finally face all of that shit that you never thought you could face, or that you tricked yourself into thinking you didn't need to face. It forces you to make a choice, and that choice is you either face your problems head on and learn and grow from all your failures and your struggles and all that shit that happened to you and use it to propel you into being just a more happy, fulfilled, and better person, or you just turn around, tuck your tail between your legs, and book it like a scared little bitch. And hey, the truth is, the reality of the situation is, some people will never stop running. And that's just life. But the beautiful thing about it is it doesn't matter how much you used to run. Because, again, all you really have is this present moment. And if you were just running maybe, I don't know, a second ago, it's a new present moment, baby. New opportunity to do something like spin around. What I mean is it's never too late to make a change. And how could it be too late? I mean, late indicates the presence of time. It indicates that there is a past or that there is a future that you're moving towards. When in reality, the past, present, future, well, the present exists, the other two don't. That's not even bringing up the point that running is a fantastic form of exercise. I mean, if you spent your entire life running, that would mean you would have some insane, inhuman kind of stamina, man. You'd probably also have some massive quads to show for it. So I mean, hey, when you look at it that way, running, not running, facing things, all this and that, it's really all not that bad, is it?